I'm back. You know, I only come here when I feel like I want to. Um, so all of my subscribers and my followers already know how I rock. Um, Anytime it's related to me or is relevant to me, and I feel like I'm educated enough to talk about it, I will. Um, don't get me mixed up with politics because I don't feel educated enough to speak on politics. I'm just speaking from personal experiences. So, as most of you know, like a lot of my subscribers and my followers, you already know who I work for. So I should not have to say it. If you feel like you need more clues on who I work for, then take out the time to go on my TikTok to go see just maybe even one video. It's probably somewhere in a headline somewhere. Again, just the preface, I don't speak about things that I'm not quite educated on. So here we are. We are on a shutdown. I should not be happy, but I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of am. My supervisor has been putting me through hell. I've never had a supervisor so like crazy. Um, Mind you, I am the thing about this supervisor is and my lead, they do not like that I'm a veteran. They not a veteran like a military veteran, but somebody who's been here for a really long time. I've been here for close to a decade. And so there's things that I understand how they work that they may not. And they refuse to be educated on certain things. They see that as a threat to their power because what's important to them is power. It's not about actually knowing anything. So there's that. How am I being affected by the shutdown? I was a part of the longest shutdown the government has ever had, and that was like in 2017 or 18 or something like that. I've also been furloughed before, so I've been here that long. I've been here that long. Um, did I tell my manager what I think people should do in these particular circumstances? No, because if you know everything, who am I? Who am I, right? So yeah. Um so I'm actually seeing this as a break. We like, if you've been following my journey, we went from being telework, which is a hybrid work, to being telework, which is a hybrid work. But the schedule is different. It's half in office, half out of office. So 1 week we go into the office, 1 week we're out of the office, which in my opinion is still, it doesn't make any sense. I'm not understanding why people are having this issue with this telework thing because before before telework was even a thing during COVID, we offered telework. And it was you go into the office once a week. Once a week. And then your manager will set up what week you guys, your team will come into the office. And it's usually for a meeting. Once a week. This was already in play before the pandemic. So the fact that they removed it 100% is just like odd because we've always had it. It's just at a lot higher scale. And it used to be for people who've been at the IRS for maybe more than 5 years. And then you would apply for it. And then you would wait to get approved for it. And then you would work with a team that's already a telework team. I've heard about those managers who were telework managers. And I've heard that they were terrible. Just some insight. I've been to 2 different service center sites. I've been to the Philadelphia Service Center site and the Atlanta Service Center site. And I'm going to tell you now, this is with empathy because I'm not sure why I'm having this experience. But it seems like the Atlanta Service Center is worse based on communication. It's almost like I don't want to say like a slavery mindset, like I'm master's favorite type of behavior, is given passive, petty energy. It's like they nitpick, they're very petty in like very subtle ways, and even though it doesn't make sense, some of the petty behavior doesn't make sense, they still think it does. So it's just like out here is kind of different. They operate different. And when you're educating people and saying, hey, this doesn't make sense, they're like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, okay. But as a team, you have to understand that not everybody knows everything. So if your team can contribute something to you to help you navigate the team better, you should probably take that advice. Whatever. I feel like with the Philadelphia Service Center, they're ahead of the Atlanta Service Center. I'm just going to say that. As far as like how they operate, they're ahead. As far as how they communicate, they're ahead. There's things here that just don't make sense. Like, they want you to report your closures daily, but they don't want you to put in your timesheet daily, which is like crazy. So I guess we're just supposed to make predictions for the future and just tune them as we go. And then they lock the timesheets every 2 or 3 days for no reason. But yeah, that's what I'm dealing with there. So I actually kind of feel like I'm getting a break. And the reason why it doesn't feel as stressful for me is because we've learned from the last shutdown to try to save as much money as possible. So we're in a very fortunate situation where we was able to sell a home, make money off of our home, and use half of it as a down payment, and then the other half we put for emergencies like this, having 3 months of like mortgage saved up. So we've kind of already prepared. This is why I don't care what the housing market is. I will never be against buying a house. Like, I just won't. Of course, you have to obviously be prepared to buy a house. And I'm never going to tell anybody to buy a house and they're not prepared to buy a house. As a mortgage loan originator, you should definitely be prepared to buy a house before you buy one. Do you got to put 20% down? That's up to you. I don't ever put 20% down. I don't even put 10% down. Is that financially irresponsible? Maybe. I don't know. I don't care. So, because let's be honest, a lot of us don't even stay in these homes for long. A lot of us stay maybe 3 to 5 years and then we're moving again, especially when you're young. Like when you're like in your 50s or 40s, maybe it's important to put down as much money as possible, make your mortgage as low as possible, try to make as many payments as you can to go towards the principal so you can pay the house down. Fine, yada, yada. But when you're young and you're going to be moving a lot and your kids are growing and you might not like a certain school district, like you're going to move around a lot. I don't get the point. But yeah, and I'm never going to be the type of person who is going to choose an apartment over a house. You got the right one. You got the right one today. Because I know it sounds good. Oh, just rent an apartment. But as somebody who spent half of their life renting and half of their life owning, I'm going to tell you now, it's not peaches and cream. Every option has its pros and cons, but I would prefer owning a house. And the reason being is because when you have an apartment and you have a shitty landlord, which most of the times you will, this is not rated all ages. So if you got kids, tell them to go away. Sorry, I'm not kid friendly. I wish I could be, but I'm just so passionate about what I say. And this is why I don't come on here all the time, because with YouTubers who come here and make videos all the time, they just talk they don't understand. They say anything based on what's trending. They come up with a script and then they tell you the script. I'm going to keep it real. Sorry. When we've had issues with every apartment, it don't matter whether we got luxury, it don't matter whether we rented a house, it don't matter whether we rented something in the slums, we always had an issue with a landlord fixing something. Whether it be they're hiring their creepy maintenance person to come into our apartment at any time they feel like it, whether it be having roaches because another tenant decided they did not want to be clean and now we have roaches, whether it be the landlord just doesn't want to fix anything and we have to fix it. I've dealt with black mold for years because, with YouTube-ers who come here and make videos all the time, they say anything based on what's trending. They come up with a script and then they tell you the script. I'm going to keep it real. Sorry. When we've had issues with every apartment, it don't matter whether we got luxury, it don't matter whether we rented a house, it don't matter whether we rented something in the slums, we always had an issue with a landlord fixing something. Whether it be having roaches because another tenant decided they did not want to be clean and now we have roaches, whether it be the landlord doesn't typically keep up with a property the same way a homeowner would. Like if I'm a homeowner, I'm going to get the best of the best. I'm going to look at the ratings. I'm going to make sure it's done right because I live here. When you're renting and the landlord does not live there, it is a different experience because you are going to get whatever's the cheapest option so that they can maximize on their dime. You are going to get roaches. You're going to have people walking over your head and dogs barking. You're going to not feel safe because there's more people living in proximity of you. You're not going to have the best options of schools. So again, to each his own. If you choose to rent, that's nice, but don't talk down on people who own a house because some of us will prefer it. We've been through the experience before, and there's nothing that you can tell us to convince us that this is a better option for us. I feel like for my kids like to go outside. They like to ride their bike. They like to play at the playgrounds. I feel like the playgrounds in certain areas are not nice. I feel like certain apartments don't even cater to kids at all. Some of these apartments don't even have elevators. Some of these apartments have unsafe situations where you're walking in a hallway where you smell a bunch of weed. It's like, I don't want to deal with it. I just don't want to deal with it. To each his own. Like, anywho, I went on a rant there, but this is why I prefer to own a home. And another reason is when I'm going through a financial hardship and I can't pay my mortgage in Georgia, if you can't pay your rent after day 5, you start getting eviction notices of being late. Whereas when you own a home, after day 15, you're getting told, okay, your mortgage is late. Now you owe 2 months. Now you owe 3 months. All right, do you want to go through foreclosure? So you have more time to get your together than you would, or your ish together than you would if you rented an apartment in Georgia. In Georgia, it's a landlord favored state. So there are little to no laws to protect tenants. When your apartment is messed up, you cannot hold the escrow, the rent and escrow until they fix it. You have to pay regardless of whether they fix it or they don't. Not for me. It's just things that I can't do. Like renting in Philly, fine. I don't find because it's more tenant friendly. But and on top of that, when I rented in Philly, my son got lead poisoning. Because they said they gave us a lead safe certificate for the house. Come to find out, there was lead all over the floors that my baby was crawling on. Did they fix it? No, of course not. We had to wait until the lease was up, hold all our rent and escrow, go to court. The court excused it. We got to keep the money for our escrow and got another apartment, even though we got to keep our money and we did not have to pay rent for those months. Our child had lead poisoning and it will affect him for the rest of his life. So it's just things like that I've lived in several apartments where there's just a bunch of mold, and these things can happen in houses too. But when you're a homeowner, you're more likely to invest yourself into fixing the home the proper way and making sure every issue is addressed because you're going to be living there for a long period of time. Like, you're more likely to fix those things. On top of that, the resale value will go up if you put better quality into your home. So it's just like, it's different. It's a different motivator behind a homeowner versus a landlord. I mean, a homeowner versus a renter. That's just what it is. I don't know. I just prefer this. If you are the type of person that's always getting money, always got a job, got 1, 2, 3 jobs, ain't got no kids, I would definitely rent. Own a house for what? I'm going to be a digital nomad. I'm going where I want. But when you got kids and your kids, some of them are not, they're really young. They require a lot of your attention. You have one job in a business, or you have a pretty okay job, an unstable job in a business, because where I work at, we furlough. And when you furlough, you can get unemployment. So, I mean, that's not stable income to me. So, I just feel like owning a house is a better option. Plus, you can restructure your loan if you can't afford to pay it back after 3. You have more options. You just do. And that's why I choose to own a home. And that's why I'm not stressing about this shutdown. Because for what? I mean, I'm going to get my back pay back as soon as we open back up. No need to cry. I just have to hold over. And if I call a company, this is why I paid off my car. This is why I have a paid off car. And you can never convince me to buy a new one. Because I remember when we first went through the coronavirus situation and my job was discussing like AWOLing people and things like that, I started calling places and being like, listen, can I like wait a few months to pay my car note? Like, and they were like, no. I mean, we could put it on the back of the note, but you got to pay next month. And I was like, oh, got it. And I paid off my car. This is real life. People lose their jobs. People may have loss in income. There may be some gaps in your income. And these companies, if they cannot help you with that, or they can't work with you on that, you don't need to deal with them. You approved me of a loan for a car. You approved me for a loan for a house. You approved me for an apartment. If I was credit worthy and income worthy enough to purchase these things, then I should be credit worthy and income worthy enough for you to understand that I'm not just going to be like, oh, F it, I'm just not going to pay my car note. Oh, F it, I'm not going to pay my house note. Oh, F it, I'm just not going to pay my rent. It's crazy to me. It just doesn't make sense. And in real life, people lose their jobs. And in real life, it takes some time for people to get a new job, especially in this economy. Like, jobs are very hard to come by in this economy. And to be like, oh, you're 5 days late on your rent, you're about to get evicted, is crazy work. It's just crazy. So, you know, my husband so bad, he wanted to rent. And I'm just like, no, we're buying a house. Because I had a feeling this was going to happen. My husband so bad wanted to take the money and just pay for all the repairs in the house. And I said, no, we're going to hold on to it and see what happens this year. We're going to see what happens during this presidential term. Because I don't feel secure. Day one, he came in talking about half of y'all getting fired. Half of y'all better quit. I want to clean this up. So we don't know what he means by clean. So I sat here and I held on to my little funds. We moved closer to the job because I felt like there was more opportunities out here. Though I still miss my old house. And really, I could have just stayed at my old house for all of this. Because I miss Macon. I like Macon. But yeah, like, I don't know. So that's just where I'm at with government shutdown. I know you're hearing of people who don't work from the government telling you, oh, you know, this is what's happening with the government shutdown. But from somebody who's internal, you know more than we know. Believe it or not, I found out that the government's going to shut down, not by my job. No. That's too easy. I found out on YouTube through a random YouTuber. And I was like, what? Really? I don't know. Let me look into this. Started seeing news clippings. I'm like, oh, so we might actually be going on a shutdown, because we talk about a shutdown every 3 to 6 months, but it never really happens. So when you start seeing it go viral, then you're like, oh, this is about to happen. And I was actually watching a press conference of them making the votes and things like that about, you know, approving the funding, not approving the funding for healthcare. Whatever. Healthcare is not free regardless, and whatever healthcare you do get that doesn't cost a lot or costs us nothing at all is still trash. The healthcare in America is so corrupt. But let's not go there. And so when I'm finally hearing about it from my job, it was hours before we shut down. I want to say maybe 2 to 3 hours before we shut down. Mind you, it is very possible that the morning people may not even seen this email. That's how wild this is. And then they're interchanging shutdown with furlough. It is not the same thing. It is not the same thing. When you go on furlough, you qualify for unemployment. You are given paperwork so that you can file the paperwork with the county or the city so that you can be out of work for a certain period of time and come back during the active moments of the year for your organization. This is a shutdown. This is not furlough. And I'm so glad that I'm here to even say this as somebody who works here. This is not a furlough situation. This is a shutdown, which means that as soon as the government opens back up and is operational, we will be expected to return to work as usual. This is not, oh, this is an off season, so you guys don't have to work. Take your paperwork to unemployment, go file it, and then we'll see you back during open season. This is not that. This is, we did not pass funding. We are not paying you guys. Go home, and when it's time, come back. Some of y'all will be expected to stay and not get paid, because imagine TSA workers, they are driving to work and not getting paid. These people talking about, oh, see if you can utilize rideshare. Oh, get lines of credit. They'll qualify you. Once you get unemployment and they give you the money, you have to pay that back after the shutdown is over. If you take out a loan, if you're not creditworthy, you're not getting a loan. If you carpool, there's no telling if you're carpooling to somebody who's close to you, or it could be somebody who is dangerous. There's no promise with that. There is just no promises with that. So there's a lot of things that just don't make sense that they're advising us to do that don't make sense. I mean, ever since they told us to come into the office, which I would understand if telework didn't already previously exist. I see if you said, okay, the employees, this is what we're going to do. Whoever wants to be telework, go ahead and apply for telework. And if you get your application approved for telework, then you can continue to telework. If you did not, please return back to the office. That would make complete sense to me. This does not make any sense. None of it does. And when you have chaos, this is what happens. Everything is all over the place. And I'm telling you now, they're wasting a bunch of money. They're wasting a bunch of money. And even if he cuts us, we'll still be eligible for unemployment because it's wrongful termination. So not only can federal employees sue, but we can also get paid for the next 6 months from your tax dollars. So we're still getting paid because we're not getting fired for not being to work at a certain time or on time or being timely. We're not being fired for misconduct. We're not being fired for poor production. We're not being fired for any of that. We're just getting fired because we're pawns in the chess game. That's it. And so when you fire somebody and you don't have a real reason to fire somebody, they do qualify for unemployment. And that is paid for through taxpayer dollars. So it's just sounding stupid. It's not making sense. It's just not making sense to me. And then when you go on unemployment, you also qualify for food stamps, for Medicaid. And even though he said he cut that, or whatever he said he did, you still qualify for it today. You can only cut it but for so much. And based on what I've seen, we qualify. So if we do get fired, we're going to hop on that. Lie, heap, all of that. I say this to say, I can care less. I just don't like misinformation being spread, because the thing that irritates me the most is that we're learning about all of this the same time you're learning about all of this. Isn't that crazy? We're watching our own demise through your eyes. It's just crazy. But yeah, I know people are like, oh, just own a business. Right. I come from a household where my dad is an electrician, owns his own business, and my mom is a business consultant. So I know what it's like to own a business. I've owned a business several times. I still own businesses. It is not the flex you think it is. It's just not. It's not the answer that you think it is. It is not easy, especially when you are a brown hue. Things work a little slower for you. You got to put somebody as a representative for all your businesses so that you don't have any issues. It's really crazy, because if we are getting lower level values on our home for appraisals, we're just talking about just basic things where there's injustice, systematic injustices that are done to us that puts us in a position where we will never be on the same level as other groups of people. And the blindness to that is crazy from other groups of people. But it's different for us. When we thrive for something or we go for something, we have to go 10 times harder as any group. So just know, when you see us in those positions, know we work hard for it and we are way above qualified for that position. Just know that. Just know that. Just know that. For Obama, I don't like him as a president. I'm just being honest. I really don't like him as a president. I don't like a lot of people as presidents. For Obama to become a president, look at his rap sheet. For Michelle to be on his side, look at her rap sheet. And compare that to all the other presidents. We have to work 3 times harder than any group to get to those positions. Hate me if you want, but that's the truth. Where it's a race for y'all, it is a hurdle for us. It is a whole course for us. It's an obstacle course for us. It is a flat racetrack for y'all. It is an obstacle course for us. Because we got to go up, down, around, through the middle just to get to where y'all at. So, yeah, it's nice, own a business. But just know, it is harder. It is way harder. It is way harder. It is way harder. It is way harder, okay? So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Just giving you some inner perspectives on what's going on, and who better to talk about this than somebody who works for the government. So, and the thing about this is, he says he's going to make it harder for us to work here. It's already been hard for us to work here. We pay for all our benefits. Believe it or not, we do pay for all our benefits, all of them. We pay for all our benefits, whether it be we get paid less than we should be getting paid based on our experiences. We pay for all our benefits. It comes out of our pocket. So benefits are free. The second thing is, our supervisors are literal garbage. They're garbage. It's not about what they know. It's about the power. That's all it's about. It's not like they're with us and they know more than us. And so that's why they have that position. They have that position because they know somebody who knows somebody, or they wield power in a way that intimidates their employees. That's it. I've watched documentaries and read books about this. Supposedly, that is the key to being in a position of power, is that you're overconfident in knowing nothing. That's all. You just have to have that personality that I'm very confident that I don't know anything, but I'm going to tell you what to do. That's it. I'm telling you, that's it. So, why won't you be? That the best employees do not become supervisors. The best employees do not become supervisors. They don't. If anything, they'll become business owners, but they will not become supervisors by no means whatsoever. No means. So, I'm just going to end it there. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like my content. If you want to see some more tax-related videos, I will be making a video about reviews. If you go under review, I had to make that video. I have not done it in a while, but I just started taking calls again, and this is one of the biggest things that's going on right now. So if you're under review, you keep receiving a CPO 5 notice allowing you to wait 60 more days, subscribe to my TikTok. That is where I put all my tax videos. I put that on TikTok. And they're not in depth, but they're just giving you a general concept of what's going on internally. Thank you for watching. Peace.